watching HALENVILLE Live with Fruitcake Tony. Woo! Wow!
All right. We've made it. We made it to the dance. It is just a couple of minutes past 9 o'clock. It is only a couple past. It's March the 12th, 2024. Fruitcake Tony, Charles Greene. This is HALENVILLE Live. What's up, Charles?
What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well.
How's things going this week, dude?
We're busy, brother. Busy. The weather's beautiful. I can't figure out whether to wear shorts in the beginning of the day or keep clothes on.
I know. Lots of signs of spring weather here in North Carolina. It has been. It's holding on too. Some chilly mornings, but we'll see how the rest of March plays out. We're halfway into it.
Man, it's the 12th of March and I'm working on my suntan in North Carolina. That's all I'm saying, Tony. All right? That's all I'm saying.
Well, I hope it continues, dude. I do. Yeah. Hope everyone is doing good. Hope the weather's great where you are. It is almost spring. You guys up north aren't quite experiencing it yet, but hopefully soon. Yeah, we are going to talk a whole lot more about Alex Van Halen tonight, Charles.
Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are.
We had Steve Rosen on last week talking about his audio tapes.
How cool was that?
Oh, yeah, it was. We talked all about Alex's book coming out in October. Very much looking forward to that as well. But recently very fascinated with these 6 installs of these audio Alex Van Halen Lost Interviews from Steve Rosen, Charles. Oh, man, how good. From 1985, from September. And, yeah, I'm sure a lot of you have listened. We're going to talk all about those and the stuff in them.
Yes, we are.
Really eye-opening stuff and really cool stuff, and just the environment that day with Steve and Alex was ultra cool. We'll get into all of that, and we have a surprise guest too.
Yes, we do. A very special surprise guest, actually.
That
super cool,
I didn't
man.
tell you about, but that's going to help us talk about Alex Van Halen and all the excitement surrounding him lately with his book, announcement. Mm-hmm. All right. So before we bring in our special guest, let's take care of a couple of things. Later on in the show, we're gonna take a break and we're gonna pull you some nearly impossible Van Halen trivia. Okay.
Good question.
Mm-hmm. And for tonight, we're gonna score you a whole lot of big fat money right there.
That is must-have cash right there.
Mm-hmm. $1,000,000 VH bucks, big fat million. All right, and we're gonna chunk you also a very cool ToneChaser guitar.
That's a must-have pick. Jeez, man.
That's on the reverse.
Very cool.
And yeah, so those two going out later on right there. I'll put it aside. Yeah, thanks for being here. It is Tuesday. We talk Van Halen here absolutely every Tuesday, except sometimes, Charles, we talk about Mammoth WVH.
That's right.
We won't be talking a whole lot about them here shortly. They're about to start a big run in Europe.
Well, what it is they're just practicing for the show you and me are going to see. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good show for you and me. That's the way I look at it.
Mammoth WVH is going to Europe twice this year.
Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Before let's go ahead and open up the chat, Charles.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
See who's here with us tonight. I'm gonna start at the bottom. KXM Rock, what's up, dude?
It's good to see you, brother. It's good to see you, man.
Right on. Live sober. What's up?
Right on, Christopher. It's good to see you, man. Right
Jerry
on, bro.
Leica in the house. What's up, Jerry? Good to see you,
Jerry. You rock, brother.
Guitar Man 45. What is
up? Right on, man. It's good to see you, bro. All right.
Let me see. There's Randy Price. What's up, Randy?
It's good to see you, Randy.
Dude. Right on.
Right on, man.
Good to see Randy. Let's see. Hip Metal Works in the house, Charles.
Right on, Hip Metal. I enjoyed your show the other night on Ben's channel, bro. It was really, really cool, brother. Right on.
There is Blue Mox. What's up, dude?
Right on, Blue.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, bro.
All right. I'm still scrolling up here. All right. It is Tuesday. If you are just joining, say hello in the chat. There's Andy Carson in the house. What's up, bro?
Good to see you, Randy. Right on, bro.
And there's our Van Halen brother, R2, R3, Locking Nut in the house. What's up?
See you, R2. You rock, brother.
Nice. All righty.
Right on.
Okay, welcome, everybody. So, yep, we all are anxiously awaiting. A lot of us have pre-ordered this Alex Van Halen book, Charles, and from a variety of avenues already. I'm gonna wait and pre-order mine from the Van Halen store.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They'll make an announcement, they say, more toward October once we get more towards the release date. But yeah, a lot of us are already pre-ordering. I am saving a place on my shelf, Charles.
Yeah, I'm incredibly anxious to read his book. It's not a huge read. It's less than 300 pages, 280 something. It'll be very well written. And it's going to be, it's going to span. It's going to have a lot of decades in it. And maybe just maybe, the optimist in me is hoping it might allude to as to what he's going to do in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe this book is a doorway to Alex's next project or something of that nature. I don't know. He's still got music in him, guys. So,
You are a eternal optimist, Charles.
absolutely. This is fucking Van Halen.
I love it.
It's a never-ending roller coaster ride. Good, bad, indifferent. Hell, I'm on it.
So we are all ecstatic of the content inside the 6 recent Alex Van Halen Lost Interview audios put up on by Steve Rosen on his YouTube. And so we all have listened to a lot of Steve's audio before, Charles, but never any of this Alex, and it's from 1985, and the person that helped him produce this audio is here. And you guys know him. Let's bring him in, dude. Adam Roach in the house tonight. What's happening?
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm very good. Just talking about Alex in my drum room at the moment. So, yeah, teaching some drums.
Nice.
That is outstanding. Adam, welcome. It's so good to see you. It's been a little while since we've got on YouTube together, me, you, and Tony. It's how have you been, bro? You been good?
Yeah, really good down here. Been busy doing these videos for Steve, which I'm sure we'll talk about soon. But besides that, yeah, just back into the swing of things with teaching and gigs and everything, music, like you see here. So, today's my drum day. Yeah.
We follow you on social media, and you keep very busy, brother. You keep very, very busy, and that's a good, healthy thing. I like all the positive input that you give. Period. Just period.
Yeah.
But I okay. So let's just talk Alex Van Halen for a minute, Adam.
Right.
Tony. So you're sitting there. Was it an email? I want to know what the heck you did when you realized what it was that Steve Rosen was handing you to just clean up and work on for him, do something with it. Please tell that, man, because you're like the one guy on the planet Earth who got this Easter egg of unbelievable stuff. I would love to hear about it, brother.
Well, this is probably a good way to do it, because there has been talk I've seen on social media and everything about, Steve releasing this just as Alex released his book. But I must set the story straight. So Steve actually sent me these videos because, as you know, I've been doing a lot of stuff for Steve last year with the videos with, Derek and all other things. And so it would have been around December. Steve sent me these audio WAV files of a 6-part series of Alex Van Halen. And he said, hey, let's do this next. And unfortunately, I had to go to Thailand. I was over there for over a month. So I said, I'm sorry, I can't do it now. Can we do it when we get back? And he's like, yeah, no problem.
Excellent.
So, they've been sitting in my hard drive. I didn't even listen to them. And then I got back in February. I messaged Steve, said, hey, I'm back. Do you want to go ahead and release these 6-part series? And that's when Steve came up with the idea, said, hey, let's just wait because my book's, the 3rd edition's coming out in March, first week of March. So let's do that and we'll release them at the same time. So I said, cool. So finally listened to it, got it all ready. And then in the meantime, Alex, the news came out about the book. It's like, wow, it was just really weird timing. It was amazing. So,
nice.
Just sitting on them. So I finally get to have a listen to them. It was really, really cool. And I did go back and forth with Steve. I said, hey, do you want to edit this out or leave it in? He goes, no, leave everything in. Don't take anything out.
Right.
I said, he goes, yep, let's do it. And the main one, which I'm sure everyone will know, part 4, where the batteries were going dead. And that was really hard to edit, because if you listen to the original, it's just like, and I had to take out all the static and all these different sounds. But I think the outcome was okay. Everyone can understand it.
You can understand it. You can turn it up a little extra loud, and you can play it 2 or 3 or 5 times till you get it right. I had to go back and everything, and there's still parts of it I didn't quite get.
Yep.
But it's not the only listen to through it. You know what I'm saying? This is an ongoing thing. I'm truly amazed at the amount of information that Alex is just throwing out there. And he's obviously motivated about a lot of things. He's, Dave's no longer there. He seems like a weight has just been lifted off his shoulders. He seems very happy with Sammy. He's very happy with kind of everything at that moment.
Except for Dave.
Except for Dave. And
Dave's essentially out of his life now, so he's reminiscing.
Yeah.
He's venting. He's doing a lot of different stuff. In real time, we get to hear it. It as Steve was saying, it doesn't matter if this was on one day or if it was over the course of a week. The consistency in Alex's persona as he's giving this information, as Steve's, asking him questions. And let's just give another quick little shout out for Steve Rosen. What an incredible journalist. Do you see how calm he stayed in 6 when he's just delivering bomb after bomb, and Steve he didn't even break character. He just really. His voice didn't even change. I found that brilliant. But no, just God, man, I don't want to talk. I just go on,
Adam. So what? Before we get ahead of ourselves, when he first sent you these tapes, and you first listened to them, and realizing as a Van Halen fan the content of them, what were your thoughts?
I just thought it was amazing. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but there's a lot of stuff in there I didn't know about. Including the band names before Van Halen. I mean, I knew about Broken Combs and was it the Trojan Rubber Company?
Sure.
I didn't know about was it Henchman that Eddie played in before Van Halen?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff there. So just listening to all that, I was like, wow, I can't wait for everyone to hear this.
Wow, that's crazy.
To learn all these new things.
That's crazy. Well, the thing about it that was just so beautiful is he literally, he covers it, pretty much all of it. I mean, for the early stuff, he's digging. He's coming back. Steve's doing a wonderful job of keeping him focused and asking the same question 2, even 3 times. Well, are you sure that's it? And when he responds, this is where the interview tapes first got me. At the very beginning, Alex responds to Steve, and he says, look, you need to get with my dad and ask my dad. And that just goes to show you how all in Alex was. This was not some little blow-by interview. This was the meat and potatoes. I find it utterly brilliant. Yeah, and I'm going to gloat over you for a long time. You're one of the luckiest men on the planet flipping Earth, Adam Roach. You really are. In the Van Halen world, babe, you got some street cred. I'll tell you what. Very cool.
Yeah, no, it's been great working with Steve to do all these, and even the other ones beforehand. And like you said, hopefully there will be more coming out. The interviews you did for the book. With all these different people, I think he wants to try and do something with them as well. So, just like with Eddie's old school teacher and a few various people. So I can't wait to actually hear them as well.
Very cool. Very cool.
But as far as the interview itself, when I listened to it, when I was editing it, because I know Steve said, it might be over a few days, but when I listened to it, because you could hear him outside, you hear all the planes and everything going on. And then you hear Alex say, hey, come on, let's go inside and talk more there. So to me, it sounds like it's continuous. Like it was just like flat out 4 hours. But I could be totally wrong. But, Steve was there, he knows. It just seems to flow in the way they go from the different, starting from the beginning, to the different albums to Sammy's in the band. Ray's out.
Yeah, I agree. After listening to all six, just Alex's mood, and if it were another day, you could tell. I think.
Yeah, exactly. And he was in a great mood. Like you hear, joking around and laughing, and yeah, it was really good that Steve got him on that day. How he was. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, he really went through the gambit. He got philosophical about his youth. He reflected on past family members and how their lives reflected on him. I mean, Jesus, I've never heard anything like that from him. Yeah. It's such a long period of time.
That's what makes me think too. Like,
very interesting.
Oh yeah, and I think if Alex was to hear these, it'd be interesting to see if he did remember a lot of this, because this is like 1985. So unless he, which I'm sure he would have, made notes of his life, career type thing, but I'm sure there's stuff in here that he's probably, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm sure, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we all say things that we regret.
Yeah.
It's human nature. We all do it. I'm certain he meant every word he said at the time when he said it. I believe that was his heart at the moment in time.
What's up, Ronald?
It's ironic. Hey, Ronald, how you doing, bro? And Boner Jams, it's good to see you too, my man. If we missed anybody else, we love you guys. We've heard like Dave's version of this as well, in the same time frame. He was getting ready to kill the world with Eat 'Em and Smile at this point. So the beauty of this is, I believe every word Alex says. I believe his heart is in every word. Hearing all of the information that's available in the Van Halen world. I mean, even Noel Monk's book, he talks about Noel in this so much. In Noel's book, you got to read Noel's book. You got to. It's just makes the thing a cake with all the elements. It's fascinating.
Adam, thanks for spending time here tonight, dude. I know you're in the middle of lessons and all in your day. I wanted to ask you this. You had said a while ago that there's things in there that none of us knew, but what were a couple things that you heard that you didn't know that stand out?
I'd say probably definitely the earlier things. Like, I didn't know that Eddie, who had played with without Alex in the Henchman, never heard that one before. I'm sure you guys probably had, but us down under, we didn't get that news. All the things about that Alex kept as well. Like, he always says to Steve, hey, you've got to come up to the pad and see this, like these different tapes he's got of Roth or different posters he has. Hopefully that might come out in his book. So I'm hoping to see that. And even just the stories he told about his dad in the Air Force and them growing up, playing in the band with his dad. Like Ed often played bass. I knew he played bass, but I think there was one part he said, like, Ed wasn't really sure what was going on. And he's just like, hey, just do it. Just play. And he did. So I'd never really heard those before. The story about them coming to America, and what was it about the price of oranges? I think it was. Mm-hmm. His auntie said that, So thank God for oranges. Otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice to hear a lot of these things in his own words, Charles.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
God.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. The other story I didn't know was the one he said about when they first saw Roth and Red Bull Jet. And they got to the gig and hey, it was like, where's your PA? Where's your lights? And then they went off and then figured out there was Red Bull Jet David Roth's band. It's like, I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
But just some of those stories are just fantastic.
He's telling us stories that totally coincide with time frames in other books we've read.
Right.
And so you'll get the vibe of it.
And he
it's funny.
elaborates on a lot of them too, Charles.
Exactly. He definitely was, I keep saying he was on board for this. Man, he was excited about this. He gave up information to the point where Steve Rosen, what a lucky dude, man. Alex says to him, he says, look, Dave, I'm just going to say it like he says it, more or less. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. Dave is so bad, I want you to come in here right now, and I will play the tape for you. I will play it for you right now. We can go in there and listen to it, and you tell me what you think. I would like to know. I guess Steve didn't go in and didn't listen, but I was sitting there saying, when I'm listening to him, I go, Steve, go, do it.
That's right.
Yeah, he said it.
Yeah, and the story about his finger, I didn't know that either. I knew his dad had cut off his finger, but I didn't know Alex actually cut his finger as well.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
No, that was a surprise.
Yeah. Nah, that was in the earlier ones. But each one, oh man, each day for the past week, Adam, and thank you for helping Steve. They're lovely. I looked so forward to each one each day. I didn't always get to catch each one live. I think I caught a couple, but when I got home watching each day's, they were fascinating, man. I mean, just the stuff. But it was really nice to hear Alex just go on and on about things and not be short or really, really sarcastic. A lot of interviews, historic Alex interviews in the past have been short, and him being loud or sarcastic. But he was in a really great mood, just talking about all these stuff. But Steve asked some really great questions. He kept asking a lot of stuff about Edward. Edward this. Does Ed like this? Does Ed like that? What did Edward do when this happened? What? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's also important as a fan. For me, this is how I see it all. I don't care so much about if Alex hated this or hated that or didn't like this or loved that. It's not so much that as it is, because it's all ancient history now. We're talking about history. It's about hearing him tell us about it. It's the story of him just telling us, good, bad, indifferent. We just want to hear it because we love all the history anyway. We know it wasn't a smooth road. It's fucking Van Halen. It's not supposed to be, not supposed to be.
No, right.
Half the beauty of Van Halen was the drama. It was. It was. It just was. It just was.
Right.
The music was so good. It added to it. It wasn't a negative. It just enhanced the band's persona.
Yeah, that's right.
Just a quick shout out. We got Quentin James in the chat. Love you, Quentin. And then we have Music Stream is in the chat.
Music Stream. Welcome
to Halenville. We love Alex. We love your input. I read what you put in there. That's totally awesome. You see Al, you tell him Halenville loves him.
Yes, absolutely.
Period. Right on, bro.
Peace and love, brother.
Right on.
Now, I must also apologize for part 5. I'm not sure if anyone saw the live stream of that one. I don't know how this happened, but I accidentally uploaded the wrong video. So I had to, Steve messaged me, hey, you put the wrong video up. So I had to go back and upload part 5 again.
Okay.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was all my fault. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I enjoyed the commentary that Steve gave too at each end of it. Of all of them. They were awesome though. They were awesome.
Yeah, and those parts in part 6 that Steve was talking about, it's very interesting, especially hearing that clarinet and the Yeah, Eddie walking in. Hey, you're going to
Ralph
McDonald's.
66, welcome.
You know,
Good to see you.
Yeah,
you can camp out on that.
Mm.
You can camp out on that with the
John
clarinet.
Shane, welcome. Nice to see you, dude.
Steve alludes to it. It's a bit of a mystery now. I want to get to the bottom of it. It's just another one of those things, man. You know, so that's so cool. That is just unbelievable.
Music Stream says that I keep seeing Al at a local eatery. We sit with each other. He's super fun to hang out with. Talk a lot about Van Halen. Al keeps busy and is a family man. Good to hear. I hope he's in good health. And you tell Mr. Alex Van Halen that his friends here at Halenville send their very best. And
absolutely.
Yeah. That is so
absolutely
cool. Right on, dude.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, even like the part where it sounds like it's Eddie coming out saying, "Hey, you know, I'm going to McDonald's. Who wants something?"
Right. Good to see you, dude.
Yeah, I think that was Eddie. Sounds like Eddie.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of those Easter eggs. There's a couple of them. There's one early on. I think it's in section 2 or 3. Where Ed, I believe it's Ed. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. He corrects Al. He walks up, gives him a correction, and walks away.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like everyone was there that day. Like, you know, Patrick was there. Maybe Jane was there.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I imagine it was always busy up there.
Yeah.
Always. You know, it's the Van Halen camp is an army of people, essentially. It is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's too cool.
So Adam, me and Charles and the crew here, we've talked about this a couple of times, brother, and are wondering. We even asked Steve last week when he was here, and he laughed it off, I think. But Steve has put up some really wonderful audio, a few with Edward, some Roth, Michael Anthony, and now this Alex. And how much more Van Halen audio interviews has he got? Any idea?
I know quite a lot. I know like everything in ToneChaser is all those interviews. I'm pretty sure he's got like all them and more. You know, plus the other interviews with the people he was doing for the book originally, like I said at the start. But I know the ones with Eddie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll get to hear one day. That'd be awesome.
What he's got up with Edward on his YouTube is awesome.
Yeah.
He's had it up there now a couple of years, but oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. And even the ones we did last year, where we did the where he was reading through the book, and like little excerpts of him talking with Eddie as well.
Right.
So he did send me those interviews, and there was a little bit more on them as well. So hopefully we can release them too one day once the time's right.
That would be awesome.
I know, right?
Yeah, I know this. Yeah, like you said, there's a whole folder of it. So probably about, I don't know how many hours. There'll be lots of hours.
Raf 66. That's cool. Are you an LA guy? That's pretty cool. First time I saw him was at the Forum. Forum in LA. That is very cool, bro.
Yeah.
Welcome to Halenville.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys know many of those clubs that Alex spoke about? I know you said like Gazzari's.
Oh, good Lord. I heard the word Walter Mitty's. I hadn't even thought about it. I've been to Walter Mitty's. I went there. I saw a show. There was freaking Pomona. It's one of the longest little stints me and a bunch of buddies took to go see a show.
Wow.
The band was Agent Orange. I was friends with the bass player in Agent Orange. And that's a place that I hadn't thought of in 20 years. And Alex says, Walter Mitty's. Yeah, I used to go to all those clubs. All those clubs.
Alex does elaborate on what exactly happened. We all heard about the trouble at Walter Mitty's when yeah. Let me show you guys this. We talked about this last week, and I didn't have it near me, but I do today. Let me show you this. So this is a Walter Mitty's Van Halen club date. There's your dates right there.
Wow.
1976, yeah. So they played there a few times.
Is that the one with the stabbing he was talking about?
This particular one, I don't think it is. Okay. It's just one particular club contract that Alex signed. It is neat how he's got his telephone number and his address. Las Lunas, yeah.
Wow.
On it. That too, by the way, should I say, that is a copy. That's not the original. Lenny Lou has the original, and she was kind enough a couple of years ago when she discovered, Lenny Lou literally discovered that among other Van Halen relics. I'm not going to tell you the details of that, but it's yeah. But she was kind enough to make me a copy of it. And that's it right there. Yeah.
Lenny rocks.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I didn't know about in the interviews where Alex mentioned about Eddie wanting to leave at one stage. That's one thing I've never heard of before as well.
Yeah, right. We had heard, I have heard little bits of that, and I think Noel, it was in the Noel book, but Alex does go into that. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of things there.
John Deschaines in the chat. How could I have missed John? I'm looking back now. John, I love you, brother. It's good to see you, man. Right on, bro.
You didn't hear me say, hey, John?
No. I think I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm overwhelmed with all of this new Alex Van Halen knowledge. It's so there's 6 parts to this. It's 4 hours plus. It takes a couple of listens to. It really does, to absorb it all. It's great to camp out. I really was quite surprised at 5 and 6. I came off 4.
I really enjoyed 6
and
too.
Tony texted when he got into 6. I hadn't even got there yet, and he was already texting me stuff, and I was like, wow. I can't believe Steve had the wherewithal to sit on this stuff for decades, and that just goes to show what an awesome journalist he is.
I'm glad
he's amazing.
It's out there.
I'm so impressed with him.
Let me say this, Charles. I know there's 2 sides of every fence, and
yes, there are. Sometimes 3.
Hang on, but I'm glad this stuff is out there. I mean, his stuff sat in a box in a satchel, among others, and it's probably still a bunch of tapes in there that are unlabeled, but I'm glad it's out there. Every time some new video, some new concert video from whatever year or whatever, we love it. So but there are, two sides to, is it too sensitive or is it not? I think it's not. I'm
I
a
think it
Van
is.
Halen fan,
That's right.
and I love this stuff.
That's right.
And anything that I didn't have never heard or seen or listened to, or new music or whatever, of course I want to hear it and see it. Of course I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, part 6, that was probably the one where I messaged Steve a few times to say, "Hey, you sure you want me to put this in?" He's like, "Yep, put it in." What he said about Dave and other things. So, yeah, so it's good. So I'm glad he did.
Well, there are a handful of instances scattered in all 6 where Alex does say, well, don't print this.
Yeah.
Or don't print this. Is why I say there's 2 sides, but that is raw tape. Did you have to accomplish a whole lot with the audio, Adam, or was
No,
it easy?
it was pretty easy. Except for part 4, but the other ones is just more like putting up the volumes, making sure more normalizing it. So, there was some parts where you could hear, Alex might be talking right back, so I just had to turn up a little bit, or especially when those planes were going over, I couldn't do anything about that.
No.
Pretty loud planes go on. But yeah, most of it was pretty easy. Yeah, except for part 4. That was the only one that I spent a lot of time on trying to get that right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
It was great. It was great listening to it and finding out all those things. And also, the other thing that came out at the same time was the video of the Van Halen in Australia that came out a couple of weeks ago. Which thankfully I was at that show, so it was great to be.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was up second row from the front. My daughter and I.
Oh, nice! I'll have to watch it again, dude.
Yeah.
Are you in the video?
I haven't watched all of it yet, but I'd say I would be because I'm like second row from the front. More on Eddie's side.
Outstanding, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
have
amazing.
You got hair then?
No.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, so I'll stand out.
I'll look for you, dude.
Yeah, my daughter and I, some friends went because that was in Sydney, so we had to drive to Sydney to watch it, and it was a full day, full festival. So we stood in the same spot for about 10 hours to get that front row.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we had to sit through Aerosmith, Ramones, Kings of Chaos. Yeah, lots of bands going on.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding.
Tapes in the house.
It's good to see you, Lawnmower. Right on, brother.
What's happening? All right.
Yeah.
So Adam, let's take a little break. Will you join us for some trivia?
I've actually got to go back to teaching now. So my next student's coming soon. So sorry, guys. But thank you very much for having me. And hopefully there's more coming soon.
Adam,
thanks so much for being here, man. It's always a pleasure.
We absolutely love you, brother. Love you, brother. Right on, man.
Sorry about the light.
It's all good, bro. It is all good.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. And don't forget, just a quick mention, anyone in Australia wanting the 3rd edition, let me know. I'll get them in real soon. Steve.
That 3rd edition is in, and Steve is shipping books as we speak. I'm sure he's up to his ears in
he's getting to work out
new books. Yeah, but they are being shipped. So if you want that 3rd edition ToneChaser, ToneChaserbook.com is where you'll find it. Yeah, Adam. Yep. We appreciate it, dude, and great work on these audios. We love them. They are fabulous, dude.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You rock, brother. Right on.
I'll talk to you about real soon.
All
Take
right,
care.
Adam. We'll
Be
see
well.
You soon. All right.
Adam Roach, everyone.
Yeah, cool.
Right on, man. That is too cool.
Nice. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, he did a great job because some of those I was wondering about my volume levels. I wasn't sure what the hell I was listening to. I didn't know I had doors open and if cars were coming down, but it was they were outside, during
Mhm.
these
Yeah.
intervals, airplane.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. LA is a noisy place during the day.
All right,
Yeah.
let's get
Wow.
down. Let's jam into some nearly impossible Van Halen trivia.
Ryan Hall just dropped in. It's good to see you, Ryan. Love you,
What's up,
brother. Right
Ryan? Good
on,
to see
man.
you, dude. Let's score them a ToneChaser guitar pick and 1,000,000 big fat money VH bucks for you. All right.
Hard to beat.
All right. Let's jam on that view. All right. Trivia time. Good luck. All right. I have 2 questions prepared, but I'm only going to ask one. But both of them, so I guess this week's and next week's question come directly from these audio tapes. Yeah.
Word.
They did. All righty. I think we're going to ask the second one, Charles, and not the first one.
Okay. Hey, they're both great.
All right, everyone, good luck. We play this for you every Tuesday. Thanks for being here. We talk Van Halen and Mammoth WVH every single Tuesday night, and we do nearly impossible Van Halen trivia for you as well. Always fun. We mix up prizes. Steve was nice enough to send along some of these ToneChaser guitar picks, and we've been sharing those out. But we do like to mix them up. There's passes. We give 71 D quarters and all poker chips, all kind of stuff. We do. Tonight's Nearly Impossible Van Halen Trivia 2 is brought to us, shall we not forget, Greg Legend Picks. If you want custom picks, go get you some Legend Picks. Greg's links are down below. He's made picks for all these people and us, and he can make them for you too. Big old sack of them, or 2 sacks, if you please. All right. So good luck, everyone. Let's find it. There it is. The first correct answer that we see, it is the winner.
Wade, well played, William De Silva. But no.
William, what's up, dude? I'm
Good
not
to see
looking
you,
at
bro.
the chat. I'm looking at this.
Right on, bro.
If you are the winner, there's a trivia winner's email down below in the description. Trivia winner's email, it says. And so email me your stuff and I'll mail you out that prize pack. Hopefully you haven't won here recently and I can mail you out some newer stuff, some HALENVILLE Live guitar picks, some Charles Greene All Roads guitar picks, some Brendan B. Squared, some new Brendan B. Squared guitar picks. Nobody's got that. All right.
I
Good
don't
luck.
even have one.
You don't have one yet?
Nope, not
I'll
yet.
send you one.
I've got all of the. I got 3 different kinds, but I don't have.
I'll send you one of those. I know I hadn't sent you, Brendan, or Ed one. I will. All right. So good luck, everybody. Keep an eye on the on the chat there, Charles.
I am.
The first correct answer that we see is the winner. Good luck. All right. Nearly Impossible Van Halen Trivia, March 12th, 2024. Cut. Good luck. Can't Get This Stuff No More from 1996's VH Best of Volume 1 was written and recorded for the Balance album under a different title. What was that title?
Alice G in the chat. It's good to see you, brother. Right on, man. Right there, bro.
Alice G, good to see you, dude. Mr.
Oh, my goodness.
Slides
Oh, my
in.
goodness. Mr. Mick,
Hey,
you never cease to surprise, brother. Let me tell you what.
these kids are paying attention, Charles.
Still going, baby. Still going. Wow.
Randy Price, you know Randy's paying attention.
That's right.
Right on,
That's
Mr.
outstanding, man. Mr. Mick, he wanted that pick. What are you going to do?
Nice. You are welcome, dude.
That is excellent.
All right, yeah, that came straight out of what we have been hearing with these audios there, Charles. That's where that one was crafted from. The other one is also. So here's your hint for next week. Listen to those 6 again.
That's right.
That's your hint.
That's right.
And somebody's going to get the next one next week, Charles, just like that.
I like it when the chat wins. I mean, every once in a while, I know you get a certain pleasure out of stumping them all. But for the most part, you guys,
I don't get any pleasure. I
Tony
try
wants
to
you
keep
guys to win
right
all
on the tip.
He really does. Well, you do get a little pleasure when you, I mean, I even do. When you really nail them, I'm surprised usually. But every once in a while, your question is so hard. I don't know, you know. But you always want them to win, and that's what's so cool. God, that's so cool. Mr. Mick.
If I didn't win every so often, we couldn't call it nearly impossible. Because
that's right.
You know, it'd just be Van Halen trivia at that point.
You know who just jumped in the chat, Tony?
Let me go back over here. Mr. Mick, congratulations, dude. You rock. Thanks for being here. Thanks to everybody for being here. I see Lenny Lou in the chat. What's up, Lenny Lou?
Say hey to Mary for us. Love you, sweetheart.
We were just talking about you right before Adam had to go.
That's right.
And yeah, Walter Mitty's Rock and Roll Emporium. That lovely Alex Van Halen signed contract from 1976. Holy moly.
That is so cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
All right.
You know, Tony, from this angle for a second, you look like you were rocking Alex's drum set there just for a minute. The Ludwig name was showing right there. There it is. It's all you, brother.
Where?
Right now. You look like you're sitting behind Alex's drum set.
Oh, okay.
If you had some drumsticks and you blacked out Alex, I'd be a believer, brother.
Alex. Yeah. I'm sitting down over here. Move over.
It was great in the very beginning of these tapes. He's talking about, you know, how Eddie morphed into guitar and he morphed into drums, and him talking about how he just liked the way the drums looked and how he looked sitting behind the drums. And I think that is priceless. No journalist could tell that story even close as to Alex spending a minute or two just talking to Steve about it. It's utterly brilliant. It's utterly brilliant.
Steve caught him on a really, really good day, and for what exactly the circumstances must have been, I know sometimes a bunch of people might stop by, but for him to be speaking so in depth with Alex and Eddie kind of coming and going around them and their conversation was a little like, wow, you know, playing the clarinet, going to McDonald's, asking if he wants anything. Yeah, hang on, I'll be right back. Yeah, give me a fillet of fish. You know, what was why wasn't Steve? I mean, half the stuff he asked Alex was about Eddie. I mean, I I was why wasn't he talking to Edward that day? I guess is and Alex instead. And then there's the one part where he says, I was deep diving. Ed walks by and he says, I was deep diving on the book. And Ed, oh, yeah, yeah. And yeah, so it was each day though, Charles, that the stuff we knew a lot of the stuff, but to listen to Steve ask these things, I mean, he kept asking the right questions, you know. He kept asking the right questions, you know. How
And
did Ed feel about this? How did Dave feel about that? How did Ted feel about this? You
yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, he would ask the questions open endedly so that Alex could just kind of go, and Alex would he'd just go. He didn't necessarily always have a question to answer, other than he was on a roll
Charlie asks, good to see
telling a
you, dude.
story. Charlie, right on, brother. I, I'm gonna have to listen to these several times. I'm just gonna camp out on them. It's gonna do what I'm gonna be doing at work. I've done it for the last few days. It's been so cool to do this. I never, ever thought we would ever be able to do. I couldn't believe it. I was in a really nice backyard, beautiful, beautiful landscaping, and I'm listening to Alex talk to fucking Steve about 1985, 6 months before the 5150 album was released. Half of the album at that point had been finished, essentially. I find it unbelievably cool.
Yeah.
I don't have the vocabulary to actually say what I want to say.
Let's stop right there. But the record halfway, he did say it was halfway finished, but it was he confirmed in it too and elaborated that some of the stuff that Ed had worked up, Roth had sang on and scatted to at least, but some were worked up more than others, which we had all heard that Dave had copies of such things in his possession in his basement. But yeah, so with I think if Dave had stayed though, I think it would have been an awesome album. I think it would have had the maybe the same songs on it, at least the same keyboard songs, you know, and it would have been awesome. But Alex does say in it that with Sammy, it went to another level. Those songs went to another um, level. But yeah,
There's a lot to be said also. Something else I kind of got a vibe on. Alex is now maturing as we're listening to him. He's not the older young brother. They're not a couple of kids anymore. They've got years now of touring. They are now world travelers. Life's a whole new ball game. He certainly morphed into a professional rock star. He tells it like it is. He talks about the money. He talks incredibly freely in these tapes about money, making it, losing it, whose fault it was, why.
yeah,
Even, I mean, I guarantee Dave's version of it's not going to be the same. And it's not about who's right or wrong necessarily. It might matter to someone. Doesn't matter to me as a fan, because what is important here is we're actually getting to hear it with our own ears from Alex's mouth. And I can remember what I was doing within 2 months of those tapes being done. Quite literally within maybe even a month window. And I revel in it as a Van Halen fan.
So let
It's
me
beyond
ask. So let's talk, Charles, about a couple of examples in this that
Mhm.
we didn't know about. All
Mhm.
right, let's go there. So Alex does really elaborate on the deal with Sparkomatic
Mhm.
that Noel wrote about,
Mhm.
and had the deal done. They were ready,
Mhm.
and Dave, he didn't like it. But those two stories, they did kind of match up, Noel's and Alex's.
Yes, they
But
did. They
yeah,
did.
they they matched up. Another interesting little thing, Alex said in 1984 in merch alone they made 22 million. Um, 22 million, and on the 1984 tour, I never knew this. I had never even heard this, but with Alex went into first in the audio, went into how many buses, how many semis, and all this, and then I believe and Noel has his own bus, okay, and 5 bodyguards. And he went into, we had all heard kind of how Noel operated with as far as bootleggers and all. He'd be up the block running after a guy carrying a big box of T-shirts that he made or whatever. But Alex elaborates on all that, and yeah, said that it got to be out of hand. There were lawsuits, beating people up, and all this, and yeah,
The way the media portray, all we had, it wasn't in those days like it is now. So the story of Noel grabbing that kid, kid was like 15 years old, and basically kicking the shit out of him for selling bootleg tapes. I'm paraphrasing. That story didn't hit mainstream. I didn't hear about it till years later.
right.
you know? So, Van Halen wasn't an easy band to manage. I say that. That's a huge understatement, what I just said. A huge understatement.
That's
And
why they put Alex in or that's why they put Noel in there, according to
that's
Alex.
exactly right.
Right.
And I believe every word Alex said about Noel. But there's a lot that and he's just giving an interview, so you can't get on Alex for something he either didn't say. He was just talking. But
Noel at the time, Noel was tour manager's first tour, but he knew the business. Alex said he knew everybody,
that's
knew the
right.
promoters, knew
That's
knew
right.
the lights, knew
That's right.
and so, but yeah, he Alex did speak of all their managers. Um, he he said that Ed was great. He had great things to say about Ed and Ed Leffler.
Yes.
And
Yes, he did.
yeah, he did. It was interesting to me, Charles, to hear how when they're making albums with Ted at Sunset, how when they're all of a sudden making records at 5150 and doing things there, Ted comes in and he's used to a certain way. He's used to being the captain, running show on time, this and that, getting very involved, but he's the guy there. But he goes to somebody else's house to do this. He's not the guy. And there were, I'm sure it made him uncomfortable, but there were instances, and he said, Alex said in these that he Roth one day asked him to leave the building,
Yeah.
okay, to go
Yeah.
outside, and this is at 5150,
Yeah.
and he got really mad, and him and Roth got into it, and he told Ed now, look, nobody's going to treat me like that. That is, I'm here to do a job, and you know, he didn't like
It
that.
it ain't easy being a rock and roll band and staying together for decades. It doesn't really happen very often. When it does, it's unique. It really is. To be at their level,
Yeah,
I'll go back to it to hear the maturity. I'm so God. We are so fortunate to have these. You get to hear Alex actually where he was mentally at this time. He was very mature
yeah,
for a young man, and dealing with things that on another level. This is next
and
level shit.
two, he sounded clear headed.
Incredibly lucid. Incredibly lucid. He was on point. He was recalling things that he was not only recalling things, he wouldn't take no for an answer when he couldn't recall them. He would dig even deeper and he thought about it. He said, we need to check with so and so.
Well,
It's just amazing.
so Charles, one of my favorite parts of all six of these was um,
6 of them.
when he goes into the end of the when they broke up and the back and forth, because both of the stories that all the stories you've ever heard of Roth is I want to work and they don't, and all the stories you hear out of them is I want to work and Roth and he don't. So we've all heard that before, but that Alex confirmed that was their side. Okay. Ed goes to Dave's place, and this was the end, Alex said. Um, Ed goes to Dave's place, and then he calls his place, I guess his dad named, but Rothwood is the name of the property. But he goes there and like, what's the deal? Are we gonna make a record? And he says, I can't work with Alex. And Ed basically F you and leaves. And that was the end.
Called him a drunk. He called him a drunk. He called Alex a drunk too. And that's what pissed Ed off. Ed got really upset about that. You're absolutely right, Tony.
Let me say this too. It was fat. We talked about this. Alex said that he was drunk on stage twice in his life, but never missed a show.
And he finished the set.
Right. But he said that Roth in the history of Van Halen missed 5 shows.
5 shows. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
And he did call out the S Festival on a couple of things. Mm-hmm. I got to say, I've seen Van Halen several times, and the S Festival is probably one of the very best shows I've ever seen them do. It was the most Van Halen show. It wasn't about, Dave was leaving out entire regions of lyrics and songs. He would just leave the whole sentence out. And it was okay. It was okay because it was a party. And it was something different, if that makes any sense.
Do you say that at all? Does any emotion of how historic, and we all knew, even if we weren't there, we all knew how historic the US Festival was in 1983 at that time. Did that have anything to go into it at all? The fact that how historic the night was, that it made it a little better?
Look, the overall thing of the US Festival was there was so much negativity that came out of it, not from necessarily Van Halen. I mean, they were used as scapegoats. People used the band as a platform just to bitch and complain after the fact. They wanted to blame Van Halen for shit that they weren't even responsible for. 114 degrees. Way too many people at the venue. The most uncomfortable bunch of shit, making people throw their food away, their drinks away, everything they brought to the venue, sending them in. Not enough money. It was an absolute clusterfuck from the stage forward. But everything that came off that stage was miraculously awesome. Good, bad, it didn't matter. It was wonderful. Van Halen never put on a bad show. A show where I went and said, gee, these guys, somebody. Hell no. Not even close. Not even close.
Charles, I can't recall if it was in David Lee Roth's Crazy from the Heat book or not, but for the fact that I never knew that Dave, he never did. He never followed through, Alex said, but in his audios, he says that Dave had plans, they already hired a lawyer to bring 2 lawsuits after he left Van Halen. He said this, and I found it really outrageous, that one of the lawsuits was that he was claiming 50% of songwriting,
Well, so in Dave's defense, that's ludicrous. Okay,
he never followed through with.
Well, that's my point.
But Alex did say that he was, and made them aware too.
So listen to how this is so great that we have these tapes, because it adds all kinds of stuff to this. As upset as Al is there, and we hear Al saying everything, right? Well, Dave's saying the same shit. Same thing, Dave. He's saying the same thing, just directed the other direction. Yeah, I'm sure there were. He's the lyricist for the biggest rock band on the planet. Those lyrics, that's Dave. Unless it's a cover tune. And then the lyrics done by Dave. Okay? His ego, you could argue it's too big. You could argue that there was too much Dave, and that's why it imploded. You'd probably be right. As we listen to history, which is well documented, Dave got on everyone's nerves.
Alex does speak of a lot of disrespect that Dave did in all, and yeah. So in certain ways, Dave was good for Van Halen, I think, as far as taking the reins. I'm hesitant there to say leadership, but taking the reins on certain things. Ed was just about the music, and Al was following him. Al did the muscle. Al, in the early days, and
It's interesting, if you look at it from the Van Halen brothers' standpoint, that's their band. And they fought to keep its interests viciously. And they did it. And so when we're listening to either Edward or, rest in peace, Eddie, or Al say something, you have to remember that they're looking at it from an even more personal standpoint because it's got their name on it. And that's just the way it is. You can't get away from it. Al can't deny that. But there's elements in that band that go beyond Al. There's elements that go beyond Eddie. Michael was a magic equation. Dave. Shit, guys. It's kind of hard when you listen to Al talking about Dave.
DK Wilson, welcome.
Right on, DK. To realize in the back of your mind that the guy he's talking about was the single biggest freaking shit that hit the fucking world in rock music. Everybody wanted to be David Lee Roth. He was emulated more than any other rock singer on planet Earth in the 80s, period. His influence was unmarkable. It's just too huge.
Let me read a couple of these things, Charles. So DK Wilson says, how much drugs did Dave do to become a outsized egomaniac?
Interesting question.
Drew P. Dick, welcome. I met the manager. I was driving a cab. This guy gets in, says, airport, please. Turns out to be Noel. The guy was, I say, on fire at 5:30 a.m. He was going to Calgary. He said, collect the rent. The guy had energy. Noel. Yeah, Noel had energy back then, they said.
So, DK, just to address your question, I'm a child of the 80s. Cocaine was prevalent in the 80s, and everyone did it, it seemed. The people who didn't do it are the ones who actually, they're glad they didn't. Let's just put it that way. They all did it. They all had substance issues. They all had, the world was at their feet. Alex Van Halen, in fact, in part 6 of this interview that we're talking about right now, he very candidly makes just a quick, it's only a couple of 3-minute statement he's making, but he talks about it. And he says where he went and what he did. He did it all. Period.
Yeah. Oh,
and so, and from a band like Van Halen, they were the poster boys for excess. You could say that. the whole era of the 80s, Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinking Rich and all of that, all those awesome bands. Well, they were just spin-offs of a whole Van Halen mentality. It was
Well,
a mindset.
going back to his question, Charles, let me say this. I don't think that the amount of blow that Dave did had anything to do. I think it helped him be more of who he is. But at that time, from the start of their career until they broke up, okay, in that window of time, those magic years, there was as many rock stars doing blow
That's right.
as ultimately there were as many baseball players doing steroids.
That's
You know,
true.
there was so basically most of them.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So people got off of the blow, you know,
Or they didn't.
after the mid 80s of most of them, a lot of us. But that's when the times changed after that in the late 80s. But for the start of the 80s to 1985, it was everywhere, as you said. Everybody, of course, there's not a band out there. There's a couple people that claim they never did, Gene Simmons or John Bon Jovi, but hey, all of them did then, and we know it. No secret. We were doing it too.
I can tell you some
As
funny
fans,
stories,
we
guys.
were.
I'll say this. I can't say that shit. Okay, I'm sorry.
Not
I can't
steroids.
Yeah, I can't. There's some things I just can't say. We'll
No,
talk about it in the green room sometime.
Yeah. But as fast as the
Daryl Strawberry, R2R3 Daryl's. I hadn't thought about Daryl Strawberry in a minute, brother. Yeah, man. Very cool.
Yeah, the 80s, they left as fast as they got here, but they were grand though. But we timed it, I think, for anybody my age. Not going to say how old I am, but I think for anybody my age, it was a great time. You got to experience the 80s in every way, and most of us we survived the 80s. Of course we did. Everybody around me did anyway.
I lost a few friends along the way.
I wasn't in the big city. I was here in Carolina. So I'm sure it was, but we were we were walking the dangerous lines as young guys in the 80s, Charles. We were.
Yes.
Never got a DUI or nothing like that, or arrested or caught or.
I'll say this: in 1982, 83, you had to be an absolute damn fool to get a DUI. You had to not only show them the liquor, you had to tell them you were drunk. You had to make them take you to jail almost. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. Unless you were just an absolute belligerent shithead, they'll let you get away with murder.
I never got a DUI, Charles, but I was responsible twice for failing the person who drove us to the concert out of jail because he got a DUI.
There you go. It doesn't work when the designated driver's drunk. That's like an equation.
Well, in those days, unfortunately, this was pre-designated driver. We were just wide FO.
Yeah, and it's and I'll say this. I hate to sound like a prude, but it's a good thing things are not allowed to be that way. One time, me and my friend were in a Camaro, flying through the desert, and we ended up in Arizona. We didn't even realize we were in Arizona. Okay? I had crossed a state line completely unaware of where I was, and an Arizona trooper pulled me and my buddy over. It was like 3:00 in the morning and gave us a warning. I should still be under the flipping jail, dude. And I got a warning, bygone times. I didn't deserve the warning. Let me just say that.
I think that in my younger days, I think and I am embarrassed to say this. Oh my gosh, I hope my kids aren't watching, or my grandkids. But the first, I would drive after I had a couple up until I was probably married. So, yeah. So up until 1989, let's say.
Yeah.
1990. Yeah. But then I'd had too much good luck in my life at that point. Yeah.
That's why we tell stories and talk about it, because it was crazy times.
I know. We had a fantastic time in the 80s. We did everything you can imagine, at least once, and it was fun. Some things we did twice, Charles.
I've been known to do things even 3 times, Tony.
Some things we did. Some things we formed a tradition with and did it 2 or 3 times a year. But that involved, kegs and a whole lot of food and people and substances. Yes. Yeah. But those were the 80s. What happened back then? They're still back there,
Yeah, so back to Steve Rosen and the Alex Van Halen tapes. It's just too incredibly awesome that we're sitting here talking about these tapes and the fact that we can actually hear Alex in '85 give us his true opinion in real time of how he felt at that moment. I can't.
A lot of things.
There's too much. There's too much. It's going to take. We're going to have to listen to this over and over again, and we're going to be talking about this all year long. All year long, we're going to be talking about
mom and dad. He talks about them. Steve asks about them. Steve asked some great questions that day.
He's Steve Rosen, you guys.
Yeah. Go check out those 6 interviews. A lot of you know what I'm talking about. That's what we're here tonight for. But man, they are fantastic. And yeah, oh my goodness. It's a treat. But still, we are waiting on October, Charles. It'll be here quick, dude.
It's the year of Van Halen, guys.
It'll be here quick. We are still just weeks away from going to see Mammoth in May. May will be here quickly. We're almost into April.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, absolutely. I did like one. I'll say this one last thing. I liked how Alex, and he came right out, and this is 1985 though. It's Just a Gigolo had just come out. How he said, "I'm just a big ego."
Yeah.
Instead of
yeah.
That was hilarious.
there's going to be a lot of animosity at that level. We're talking about the biggest rock stars in the world having real rock star problems.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Steve asked some great questions. Steve, if you're watching, we love these six. You touched on everything with Alex and all the questions about Edward and everything, man. It was just awesome. Yeah. All right, Charles, we're going to wind things down here. Let me say this to everyone before we get going. Everybody, this weekend we do a live stream on Saturdays about guitar picks and rock memorabilia here. We call it Show Me Your Pick this Saturday, and we do it every Saturday. It's 9 p.m. Eastern, same time as this show starts, except on Saturday. That's our little weekend get together spot. And this weekend we're going to talk about Merle Haggard.
fucking Merle Haggard is super interesting. He's got an incredible history.
Yep, we got a lot to talk about.
You got a lot of stuff. You got a lot of Merle stuff, don't you, Tony?
Absolutely. A lot of Merle Haggard guitar picks. Yeah, a lot of Haggard and the Stranger stuff. You'll dig it. Can't wait to show you. Can't wait to see you guys on Saturday.
Right on.
We love our Van Halen, but we do tend to be a little more relaxed on the weekend.
I'm going to see Vi and Satch April 2nd at the Belk Theater here in Charlotte. You can go if you want to go, Tony. Plenty of tickets available. Huh? Yeah, it's Tuesday night though. Me and my son Danny are going to go.
Okay.
It's just down the road. I gotta go. I
know. Down the road for you, but still close for me. Yeah. Right on. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Leave a thumbs up there on your way out, if you would. Subscribe here if you are not already. We talk Van Halen absolutely every single Tuesday. If we don't, it's because we're talking about Mammoth WVH.
That's right.
Yeah. A lot of exciting Mammoth WVH stuff from the road coming up. They're about to start a run in Europe here in another couple of few days. So, yeah. All right.
Thanks so much. A little shout out here to Drew. It's good to see you, Drew. Right on, brother. The Axe. I haven't seen you for a minute, bro. It's good to see you, too.
Good to see you guys.
Right on, brother.
Yep. All right. We out of here. We'll see you next week right here, Halenville Live. Any last words, Charles Greene?
Hey, guys, this is Halenville. Around here, it doesn't matter if you go north, south, east, or west. Every single road is going to lead you to some Van Halen. I want you guys to have a wonderful week. Be well. Do something nice for someone for no reason whatsoever. Just for the heck of it. And rock on. Take care of you guys. We'll see you. Be well.